think that was the most hurtful part for me is when he had came to my house and he was just like, something is wrong with me. And I'm like, huh? You know, and then when he turned around, his face, I was like, you had a stroke, you know, like I'm starting to panic and, you know, I'm trying to dial 911 or dial the hospital or something. And like, we're trying to tell the people like he was just normal, but something's going on with him. Hi everyone, so this is episode 2 of Secrets of a Crazy Mental Health Counselor, and the topic for today is called Born to Die. I got my family with me on today. My daughter Paris, say hi Paris to the camera, to the people. That's my son Caleb, say hey Caleb or say what's up. And the youngest one that's laughing is my brother. He's gonna laugh throughout the footage. He's nonverbal, so that's his way of communicating. And this is my sister Shanice.
Hi.
My brother Shaquille here. He's 24, and like I said, right now he's nonverbal because he is going through a disease called Behçet's syndrome. And that pretty much is rare. He has to attend like speech therapy, and with his condition, it started last January, where he was walking and talking normal. I think he was 23 at the time because he's 24 now, and he was walking and talking normal, and one day it was just like he had a stroke. This disease had took over his movement, his walking, the right part of his face. He wasn't able to talk. When he talked, he was talking with slurred speech. We rushed him over to get medical treatment, and the doctors could not diagnose him. He had been over in Duke for a month, and they still didn't come up with a diagnosis for him. Luckily, we got him over to UNC, and they pretty much saved his life because he was on his way out.
Of course, we went through taking care of Shaquille together, but majority of it fell on you because he was in your house. So
Right.
How did you deal with that? How did you cope?
It was very stressful. Very stressful. I think my biggest fear was just making sure that I gave him his medicine on time, making sure that he didn't die, just making sure that once he do come back home, he changes his lifestyle. I think the biggest part of stress was trying to find caregivers that were going to help me put things in place so that I could be able to get back get back to my normal life. For us to take him to 2-3 hospitals
All together. Mariah Prime, Graham County, Duke University.
Those were 3 that didn't get it.
Yeah.
But once he went to UNC, they found what was wrong with him.
Yeah.
I felt like if we had took him to UNC earlier on,
They probably could have stayed.
save his speech, his walking, the impairments that he's struggling with now because
But we got you there though.
yeah, but we waited until he collapsed. But a lot of it had to do with him not wanting to go back through the MRIs.
Yeah.
He went through several MRIs and the spinal taps. The spinal taps are some of the most horrible things that you can ever experience. If you have some type of brain, anything dealing with the brain, because I've had to get one too, a spinal tap, anything dealing with the brain, and it has to go into your spinal cord, those are some of the most hurtful things. So he had numerous back to back, so I see why he began to refuse to go to these hospitals. It wasn't getting better. I see why he, declined their service and walked out. So, yeah, I think that was the most stressful part for me, Shanice, was us trying to find out what's wrong with this young man, and just making sure that we find some doctors that actually care.
And I was determined.
Yeah.
Somebody was going to tell us what was wrong with him.
What about being in the hospital and having to deal with COVID? Remember, you went through so many different tests. People couldn't come and see you. Were you lonely? Extra lonely. Right now, it's still a battle that he has to fight. His way of communicating with us is laughing or shaking his head. He can't talk to us. He still has to go through speech therapy. He still has to go through physical therapy, occupational therapy to fight for his life. And every day is just a battle. Each person on earth is born, and we will all eventually die. We don't know when, we don't know how, but we're all numbered, and we're all gonna go. So again, this is my daughter Paris. What do you think about the topic born to die? Or being born into this world with the new babies and then leaving? Like grandma dying. Like, what do you think about that? Being born to die. What comes to mind? Just name something. Is it scary? Okay. It was unbelievable when my mom first came down with cancer. We really couldn't believe that she was sick. I actually started laughing when she had told me. She was like, she fell and she couldn't get back up and she couldn't get out of the bed. And I was like, you're joking, you're playing. And I was like, yeah, right. She was like, no, I'm serious. Please come over here and help me. So I did go over, and I was like, oh, you really can't get up. It was a shocker to me. It was a shocker to the kids. I think we still didn't believe it until she had to go through these surgeries. I think we still didn't believe it really until we actually closed the casket. So I think these first couple of years, we were all in shock. I think some days we're still in shock. I think that's for anybody that's not expecting someone to pass, but you sort of kind of are learning each day to accept it.
One, I was born early, and as soon as I was born, I had to be looked at, poked, prodded, rushed into more operations. So you never know when going into an operation if you're going to come out alive, or is that going to be the last time you see people, your loved ones. So it's stressful, it's sad, but you can't do nothing but stay positive about going into an uncertain situation. So you just live your best life and just hope for the best.
I agree. You fought so hard from birth until now. You fought so hard in everything that I could even think of, even setting out to go to college. You fought so hard for it. I do pretty much reflect back on it in the book when I talk about going to school and just being out in public, and then other people seeing you or treating you different because you look a certain way, or
I still get treated differently. I still get looked at, stared at. And of course, my sister, she doesn't like it. My husband don't like it. And they get offended and want to say something. I'm just like, let them look. I mean, if they're bold enough, they'll ask me. I really would prefer someone to ask me what happened to me instead of assume.
When you say assume, what's some of the worst things that you ever heard about yourself that people have assumed that happened to you? Because I know for a fact, this being your sister, that there's been some rude stuff. Some of it could be heartbreaking, but I think you've grown accustomed to, people having these questions, and, I think you've been conditioned to the stares and the assumptions, and
I have.
Yeah, so I think that's why it doesn't bother you. I think I've gotten used to it too. So, at the end of the day, all we could do is pretty much live. But what's one of the worst things that you heard about yourself?
If I was in a car accident, was I hit by something, or was I in a domestic dispute? No one ever just said, hey, what happened? Or do you mind me asking? It's a birth defect. And, sometimes I will just leave it just blank, just It's a birth defect. I don't go into details because really it's nobody's business. Like, if you're not my doctor, you're not my family, you really don't need to know. It's either you're gonna talk to me or you're not.
When you say a birth defect, let's inform people out there, because this is our reality, in case there is somebody else that might go through something similar as our family did. Can you inform people about what your diagnosis is and just you, when you were born, if you can remember back? You know, I think I can remember, I can add to it, but let's just share that birth story a little bit with people, and just the early childhood story with people, and your diagnosis, just so that people can be informed about Shanice and her journey.
It's an eye tumor, and it's called lymphangioma. You can only get it from birth to 3 years old. It's not hereditary. If you have kids, it's not passed down to anyone. If you touch me, you cannot get it. It's not AIDS. It's nothing of that sort. This is all the type of things that I have heard. People didn't want to play with me because of it. And believe it or not, I'm a really friendly person. Like, too friendly at sometimes. And in the womb, you couldn't even tell that it was something wrong. All tests came back normal. You didn't know until I got here. They didn't even know when I was born. They took me home. A couple, you know, when you're born, your eyes don't really open all the way until like a couple days later. And they was like, well, her left eye is not opening how it should. Let's take her back. And you know, everybody, baby face is kind of chunky. You don't really know a lot of difference between the appearances right away. But as the surgeries happen, that's when you see the changes in my appearance. To this day, I have had over 20 operations. With lymphangioma, it cannot be removed. So where my tumor is located is benign and it's on the orbit of my eye, so they cannot go in and remove it. So it's just, you gotta treat it when it has episodes. Episodes can be anything from like bulging of my eyes to bulging of my cheek, my lip, bleeding from my eye, my nose, my mouth. I even at one point had blood vessels at the top of my mouth, blood vessels on the top of my top lip. I'd had all types of operations, from lid repairment to laser, everything that you can name, to look as beautiful as I am today.
Right. I agree. And you have a specialist, Dr. Sessions at Duke. So you want to shout her out for helping you.
Dr. Woodward.
Dr. Woodward. But I think it started off as Dr. Sessions when you were a little
that
girl.
was my first doctor.
Yeah. So Dr. Woodward. And your whole Duke medical team, because without them and without God, you know, we wouldn't be able to have Shanice with us on today. So her journey has been a journey, and I know my mother had fought so hard to make sure that, you know, her child was treated normal like everybody else and was able to attend classes in school and, you know, do everything as she should, and I'm proud of her. I think she's excellent at what she does. I'm happy that she's here to share the counseling world with me. I'm happy that we're sisters and we're able to talk about some of the issues of the world, issues that are going on in our home, and just things that go on in the office as well. So thank you. And I just want to say I love you and thank you for sharing your story, because I know that was really hard for you. She's sort of kind of secretive with a lot of information. So for her to just share that part, I'm happy. My mom, she was a shit talker, but she was fun. A bulldog, very protective. I can't think of anything of just laughing and singing a lot with her. Every song that comes on the radio, she wants to sing or make up words for. She was loving and, just a person that always had your back and that was always encouraging. She encouraged anybody that was around her. I think sometimes she forgot about herself, though.
Where I met Patrice's mom, Joanne, in school. She was like a high school sweetheart, I guess you can say. I had never had a girlfriend. She was my first girlfriend. I think I met her in 11th grade. A young lady came up to me and introduced Joanne to me. And I was a little surprised and a little shocked because I was a little nerdish in school and was really focused in on school. That's what my whole focus was about in school, was just going to school and trying to finish school. So it was a little shocking to me to have an admirer. So that's what it was about when I first met Joanne.
And even when it comes to my nieces and nephews, I talk about them, I show them pictures, because she was a very important person. She still is a very important person in our life. I really feel as though we're all different in our own way, but we all came from her. And so that kind of what connects us. And, when I look at my brother and my sister, I see different parts of my mother in them.
I was going through a lot because she was going through the cancer treatments, and it was like the final part. So all I could really do was write. That was sort of kind of like therapy for me. I think me and you listen to gospel a lot. And we talked to each other through the whole process of the death. So when I think about Born to Die, I just was like, everybody's going to die one day. And whether it's expected or unexpected, it's still going to happen. And a lot of people are in fear of death. And I took her to the appointments and tried to do like her favorite things with her, take her somewhere if she couldn't make it outside of the chemo and the radiation. We would probably do like the beach, and other ways to support her was watch her favorite show with her and eat her favorite food, some ice cream or something, or laugh or play her favorite music. Those were things to support my mom, and just not even think about what was going on with her. We prayed a whole lot. We read the Bible a whole lot. Those were different things that were helpful. I brought her, she loved doing crossword puzzles. I brought her a whole lot of crossword puzzles, and we would sit there and do it our time in the hospital and write down the date and the time.
I never went to the hospital to see Joanne because Joanne, again, she wanted the immediate family to be around, and she was married at the time to her husband. And I wanted to give him as much respect as possible along with my marriage and stuff. So I didn't visit. The day that she passed away, I went over and I saw her. I think I was the last one to see her. And it was very, how can I say, it got to me. It took me a long time to get over it. Because I remember her when we first met, and then seeing her, it took a lot out of me.
It's hard being that she's not around. What makes it even harder is when my kids see other people, and I see other people with their mom. Like this past Mother's Day, was like her birthday. It was kind of hard. I couldn't even get on social media or anything because I seen everybody with their mom and their kids, and they were celebrating. And it's kind of difficult to see all these happy faces and people, and I not get to share my moments with my mom. But I think back to myself and said, we've had a lot of happy moments. We've had a whole lot of memories. We've went places. We've done things. We've had our time. But just being in 2021 and just seeing it, it's kind of hard because things are changing daily, and the more that my kids grow up, it's like I don't want them to forget my mom and her memory and what she meant to us, because she helped us out so much. And she was like our guide. But now it's like I've become the guide, and I have to continue to do what I need to do for my kids and the people that I support and the ones that support me. So it takes time and acceptance, but eventually you'll get used to when people leave out of your life. When death occurs, you'll get used to the absence. But I don't think about it as an absence. I always just say, like, in spirit, my mom's still here. I mean, I think that's how we should all think about it, and I believe that's how I've been able to survive these last 3 years, is because I just feel like her spirit is still with me no matter what.
I tell them all the time, life is short. And, if you got a parent or you got somebody, it don't even have to be a parent per se, but just don't hold grudges. Like, you don't have to agree with somebody fully to understand them, or to, like, just agree to disagree. And just learn from your mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So if you're having an argument or something, take ownership of your part in it. Again, no one's perfect.
But how do you think that we've survived so far? Just
honestly, you just live your best life and just hope for the best, and that's it. You just gotta embrace death. Don't be afraid of it. It's gonna happen to everyone. Even with just losing our mother, it was hard. We knew it was gonna happen because she had cancer, but no one was really prepared. So when she left, and we was gonna be all alone, and all we had was each other.
I think for the most part, how did I handle grief or grieving? I think in the back of my mind, I always still pretend like my mom is still here. I think that's how I'm able to make it every day. Like I tell people, like, her spirit is still here. So I just still act like, in some way she's there, but she's just silent. I think that's how I was able to, I know that's how I'm able to move on each day, and then just praying to God and just thanking him for everything, the protection and like guidance, and because at first I questioned, but now I accept. And I think that's like one of the key things when somebody's grieving, is just accepting the fact that something has changed, and you can develop different steps that's going to help you move forward in life.
Wow, so it finally took off.
Shanice.